I will be sharing with you some interesting facts about GitHub Copilot today. It's your AI. Yeah, Tony's very excited. It's your AI peer programmer. Usually, Tony says we should give our names at the beginning. I'm going to say some mean things, so I don't want them to know who I am. Gorman, please. So we're going to talk about what GitHub Copilot is. I'm going to show you a little bit how it works. Talk to you a little bit about the legal implications of this thing, and then you need to make up your own mind. So GitHub AI, sorry, your AI programmer. That's what the marketing says. But let's see what it actually looks like. And rather than doing a demo, I'm just going to let them do a demo. So for those of you who haven't seen it in action yet, why isn't it replaying? Hey, it's not working. There we go. You give it some text, and it says, this is how you do sentiment prediction, right? Quite impressive. Okay, so let's take it for a spin. Sadly, this will not be a real demo. I can't get the AI to predict the same thing every time, and I can't make fun of it if it gives me better answers next time. So I just screenshotted the bad ones. Okay. So here are some screenshots. Let's try that sentiment analysis example of theirs. That should work, right? And then it says, use the sentiment analysis API, use the JavaScript one, use the Node one, use the Node JavaScript one, use the Node JavaScript, JavaScript one, and you can just continue that forever. It's not really fair though. I didn't give it all that information that they did. So if you do actually give it more information, it does give you a better suggestion. So just type a little bit of the actual function name and you're good. So the problem is that that looks better. And obviously this is meaning cloud. So obviously this is trained on public information. So some tutorial people posted lots and lots of GitHub repos using meaning cloud to check this sentiment, right? Repos for the win. And then in my speaker notes, it started suggesting text for me because that was very small and I couldn't get it to do it again. So very interesting. It will actually fill out your text for you as well. Let's see what else it can think of. Ooh, it'll fill out your API keys for you. Remember not to check your API keys into source control. So GitHub has been working really, really hard to kind of protect secrets. They have a separate program where you can actually have your repo scanned, and it'll tell AWS when an AWS secret is leaked. So you don't have to worry about it too much, but it was still in the training data set. So let's make it a little simpler. Let's give it an easier thing to do, right? In JavaScript, let's determine if a number is positive. So cool, that works, kind of. Did we mean integers only? Did I mean strictly positive? Oh, this is not math, elementary school. So yes, 0 is positive or not negative, look it up. But that regex, was it really necessary? So let's see what else it will suggest. So it does have a couple of different ones. I don't know why it thinks that that top one is the most impressive. Second solution is the right one. So you do have to think about it when using this thing. It's not going to write your entire application for you. You still have to check your code and make sure that it's valid and good, etc. Now let's bring on the lawyers. So just kidding. Obviously, we're not going to bring on the lawyers, but let's just look at their FAQ for a second. So it says that it was trained on publicly available source code. So in theory, if it's giving you publicly available source code, let's hope that was MIT licensed source code and not publicly available source code that was licensed under GPL or something more restrictive, because you're not allowed to use that without attributing it to someone else. And then it says it sends your comments and code to the GitHub Copilot service. We all work under NDA. Is that legal? So that's the only thing I wanted to really bring to the party today, is like, it does cool stuff, but it might also be breaking the contract that we have with our clients. So just speak to your client before installing this $10 a month thing on your thing. The other thing is, does it write perfect code? And they say on average, 26% of suggestions are being accepted at the moment. That number goes up and down over time. I've seen videos where it was 28%, now it's 26, so it's getting worse. We don't know. So back up your own mind. If your pair programmer is an expert at Google copy paste, then fine, use it. If your pair programmer doesn't know what enterprise software looks like, because enterprise software generally is not open source. So it was trained on publicly available data sets, which tend to not be enterprise software. You don't mind teaching the AI instead of the junior in your team. Pair program with the real person, because someone will learn from you. Pair programming it with an AI, maybe that's a waste of your time. And then if you have the patience to instruct your pair programming on what to do with comments. So the Python example that I wasn't able to show you had a comment of about 16 lines, and then the code was like 5. So just write the code, it's faster. But more importantly, if you don't mind copyrighted code sneaking into your code base, or possibly copyrighted code, and if you and your client don't mind sharing what could be IP with GitHub, right? And then I have some, GitHub is the source of all evil. Microsoft's all good now. We know this. But guess what? Go and read up on the OpenAI codex that they are using to do this. OpenAI, that must be open source, right? No, it's not. Microsoft bought it, and they have the exclusive use of it. It's not open, it's just called open. Right, and then some videos and stuff I found amusing. Now, who wants to see a real demo? Cool. So what would you like me to do? Anybody, shout out something. Sort a list. Function. Sort a list. Will that work? Okay, so those are good examples. I like the example about function. That doesn't work. We wanted a demo for working things here. I have screenshots for the broken stuff. So run my app. I like it. Yes, I did ask it to recommend those different things before, so it remembered that I had that before, but I don't have that function anymore. But the intersection of arrays. Right, so that's how you do the intersection of arrays, for those who don't know it off by heart, right? The question is find common elements in arrays there it goes the same. But if I do, well, I guess maybe it knows better now. Yesterday I was able to get it to recommend a completely different way. Come on, recommend. As you can also see, it takes and it's using our existing function, which is kind of cool, right? Function generate 20 character password. Come on. You can see at the bottom here, it's thinking really, really hard. Let password is equal to some interesting numbers. Empty. No, that's not what I wanted. So it at least knows the library is better than you do. Function divide by 0. It doesn't really understand the 0 part of that, right? So it does really interesting things, but it also does very silly things. So as I said, it's very important to just use it with a grain of salt. Okay, it's gonna recommend cool things. Like if you don't remember, okay, the other one I really liked is group objects by property, which is something that we don't want to write all the time. But hopefully you already have a library that does this kind of stuff for you. But telling it to set up helmet or set up cores, it doesn't really know how to do that properly. The training set it was trained on is all public source code where people were just practicing and they don't know what the correct thing to do is. Okay, and that's it from me.